What does it do you too? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. And I hope you have been following along as I've chronicled the Los Angeles Rams over the past couple of seasons, dating back to last year and the divorce of the golfer and Sean McWonder through the arrival of Matt from Detroit into this season, the ominous discovery that Matt is actually haunted by a pigskin poltergeist. And throughout this season, even as the Rams streaked ahead out in front of the pack to a 7-1 record, I felt like Scotty's ghost warning you of three spirits coming to visit. The ghost of football past, the ghost of football present, and the ghost of football yet to come. I felt like Scotty Revere running through the town, warning you, the poltergeist is coming. The poltergeist is coming. I felt like Scotty the Baptist crying out in the wilderness, Sean McGenius, repent your ways and run the ball before it's too late, before the malevolent spirit engulfs us all and destroys you. And three spirits have come to visit, and I've seen them. And the first is the spirit of football past. And I reference you 12 years of sorry losing football in the outback wasteland of Detroit. And I reference you, granted, many comebacks, but many, many losses. And so, the ghost of football past, as it pertains to Maddie from the D, is very spooky. And the ghost of football present, I see a modern day Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hide the football from him, please. A modern day horror fable played out on the gridiron. And the ghost of football future, I'm afraid for Rams fans, it's quite ominous indeed. Because I've only seen glimpses of it, premonitions of football future. But what I've seen, it's ghastly. People with the wrong colored jersey running freely the other way with a pigskin poltergeist haunted gift. Touchdown for the other guy. I see a coach brilliant in the ways of the football world, and yet stubborn, obstinate, determined to chuck the ball all around the yard with a quarterback who has split football personality disorder. And so, yes, he can lead you to great comebacks, yes. But the reason he has to lead you to some sort of come from behind miraculous victory is because he put you there in that hole. Matt Stafford, Matty from the D, the pigskin poltergeist, reminds me of an arsonist who sets a terrible blaze and then returns to the scene of the fire with water and spray hosing and warning people to flee, and is hailed as a hero for dousing the fire he started. And so the three football spirits have shown me a bleak, gray, ominous future that they foretell, unless and only unless Sean McGenius changes his ways and realizes that he must be the restraint around Matt Stafford. He has to handcuff him. He has to straitjacket him. I want to see Matt Stafford throw the ball about 20-25 times max in the next week against the Niners and beyond, maybe beyond, unless and until throwing is the only way out, the only alternative. But what we need most on the offense is balance. And Sean McVay, the boy wonder, the football prodigy, is so anxious, so eager to jump out of balance. Yes, he may start the game with a run or two, and then let's chuck it. Matty from the D, you take it from here. So, I've been warning you. I hope that you'll go back and watch some of the previous videos. Even the last video. The very last video. And I'll admit, it was a holiday video. And it was released a bit late in the week. And so maybe Sean McWonder didn't get a chance to get the theme and the message of that last video. And so I hope that this one, released in a more timely fashion, will reach him and get through to him. I'm hoping that Sean McWonder is a subscriber, or that he will be, and that I can provide a service to the coach and to Rams Nation by way of my observations and well-intentioned, friendly advice. Let's get right to the game, shall we? We shall. Rams at Baltimore. Well, Lamar Jackson was out. So, from what I've seen of Huntley, though, I like him. I think he's pretty good. Pretty good backup. Early on, less than 3 minutes into the game, why, Jalen Socks Ramsey smacks the shit out of Taylor the Rapper. What? And, I mean, I went back and took a look at the replay, and it looked to me like there was some miscommunication of signals, and Taylor the Rapper was trying to convey something, and Socks was sort of like saying, well, that, or what, huh? And then the play, which was an inconsequential play, it was like maybe 3-4 yard run gain, no big deal. As soon as the play concluded, Taylor the Rapper sort of went over to Socks to tell him, hey, this is what I'm trying to tell you, or whatever it was he was saying to him. And Jalen Socks Ramsey knocked the snot out of him. And it looked like his eyes rolled back a little, and rightly, he had to be restrained because he was trying to get at Socks. And Socks seemed like he was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have smacked the shit out of him. He backed up a little bit. And then, from that point, it looked like the dissension, the tension, could be the undoing of the Rams. And again, I've done Go back now, take a look at some of these previous videos. I did a specific video on the chemistry of the team and how team chemistry is so important. And so immediately I'm thinking, now we're early in the game, just starting. And I'm thinking, see, this is this chemistry thing again, flaring up. But a lot of people I've heard say, hey, this is not a big thing. Not a big deal. Happens in football. It's a testosterone-driven sport. And guys smack the shit out of each other all the time, apparently. Or fights happen, flare-ups, these kinds of physical altercations. And we just saw over there with the Washington, formerly the Slurs, there was that whole thing with the guy pointing in the guy's temple, and the guy, gave him one across the side of the head there, or kind of a glancing blow. But this was on the field, like in the defensive huddle, pretty much. It was not even in the huddle. It was just like after the play. And so McGenius sort of downplayed it. And I guess, what else are you going to do? Jalen Sox Ramsey is your back-end superstar on the defense, right? You paid him all that money. And so I guess the whole thing is just to try to squash it and move on. I'm sure there will be more information to come out as we move along. But as of this recording, all we really know is that there was just a little flare-up, things happened, squashed, and moved on. But it didn't squash right away, because when they came back from the commercial break, the first commercial break after the smacking, the announcer made a point of saying that, Taylor the Rapper was apoplectic on the sideline with the coaching staff, and that he and Ramsey had a mile of distance between them the whole time. Now, I guess at some point they had to come together and work it out, figure it out, and squash it off. I never quite saw anything like that before. Teammates smacking the shit, one smacking the shit out of the other on field. Defense holds, and in a previous video, my last video in fact, I implored McWonder, stop using Cooper Crazy Legs Cup as a punt returner. And I explained, and I'll say again, you run the risk of hurting the guy. The guy is not going to break off a big punt return, and you got a guy. Now, you got Brandon Powell. In fact, after the week before, after you saw him break off a big one, why do you still play these games with your kick returner? Let Brandon Powell handle the kick return duties on punts and on kickoffs. That's a no-brainer. You shouldn't even have to really focus on that. What are you running Cup out there for? Unless Powell's hurt. Is he hurt? No, because I see him in another kick or two. Cut it out, McWonder. Stop it. So from the Rams' 10-yard line, they come out. First down, they run. Good. Second down, run again. Nice. Maybe he's getting the message. Third down, they throw, complete. First down. All right. Let's move on. And then it begins. For the next 7 or 8 plays, throws. We're out of balance now. Just that quick. Matt Gay misses a field goal, and that's only Matt Gay's second miss of the season. So Baltimore takes over, and they go 3 and out. And Crazy Legs Cup is back again to return the punt. What in the hell? So, same thing. Fair catch. Once again, the Rams start at their 10-yard line. 10-yard line. Fine. Okay. There's a 4-yard run to Sony Michel. This is the Rams' second possession of the game. It's a 4-yard run to Sony Michel. And then a 4-yard throw to OBJ. And then he appeared. Poltergeist. Strikes. Pick six. Just like that. Pick six. Pick six. Again. This is Matt from Detroit's fourth pick six this season. And I see a glimpse. I get a premonition of the Rams' playoff future. One and done. One and done. And the only way to avoid this fate, Sean McWonder, is if you take control. As long as you leave this in the hands of Maddie from the D, you're going to be one and done. It's terrifying. There is a malevolent spirit that occupies the psyche of Maddie from the D. There's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hide the football from him, please, persona going on in there, a war inside of his head. And it's terrifying to watch it. And you never know when the poltergeist will strike. He comes quickly and out of nowhere, and suddenly he's there, and then he's gone, and everything seems normal again, except the scoreboard's all messed up. I'm thinking, I bet you Edgar Allan Poe never wrote a more frightening tale than what I'm seeing unfold with the Pigskin Poltergeist. It's horrifying. So just that quick, it's 7-0 Baltimore. And I mean, there's this sort of, you feel sort of stunned because it's happened again. It happens with such ferocity and with such suddenness. Boom! And a good team is going to run the Rams right out the tournament, playing from a deficit. And then it compounds upon itself, you understand. Because once McWonder goes down 7 or down 10, then he feels, well, I can't run the ball now. I've got to chuck it around to catch up. And so the cycle plays on itself. And the further down the hole he goes, the more he has to throw. And the more he throws, the more the poltergeist will appear. Because, as you know, if you invite the poltergeist in, he will come. And you invite him in when you throw and throw and throw. You invite the poltergeist in when you empty the backfield. You invite the poltergeist in when you go shotgun, empty back. And they know it's going to be a Maddie from the D production. And I've been warning about this since before the Rams were 7-1, when they were 4-1. I saw it coming. I watch the games. I see it. And I don't understand why the boy genius doesn't see it. That Matt from the D has to be restrained. Straight-jacketed. He must be. And you know how you do that, Mr. McWonder? You turn around and you hand the ball to Sony Michel. That's what you call X right trap, Z38 double back, whatever you need to name it, hand the ball to Sony Michel. That restrains the poltergeist. You see? I also believe smacking the snot out of him restrains him. And so maybe instead of Ramsey smacking Taylor, the rapper, he should be smacking the poltergeist. Maddie from the D. Dr. J and Mr. Hide the Ball. So now I'm afraid, down 7, the boy genius is going to abandon the run and feel justified in putting it into the hands of the poltergeist. 7-0 Baltimore after 1. And Stafford completes a big third down pass to Cooper Crazy Legs Cup to keep the chains moving. And the Rams are attempting to sprinkle in some runs this drive. But what I notice is all the runs tend to be outside the tackles. Sweeps and running east and west. Oh, no, McWonder. Run it up the middle. In between the tackles. Punish them. And then, well, just that fast as I'm thinking about the run game, the poltergeist strikes again. Again. And I'm flabbergasted. I'm stunned at the suddenness of it. I'm like, God damn, man, this is disgusting. This is repugnant. This is vile. This stinks to high heaven. Okay, this is filthy foul. Silver lining this time is that unlike the first pick six, this one is like a deep throw down the field, like a punt in essence. But let's take a deeper dive into both of these nasty ass interceptions. Now the first one, he's basically throwing from the shadow of his own end zone. And it just so happened on that particular throw, the pick six, OBJ was right there. They sort of had a trips formation. OBJ was right there wide open, but he was locked on Higbee. Threw it right into double coverage, pick six. This time, he threw, and I'm talking about Matty from the D, threw it into triple coverage, but he threw it deep, way down the field. And again, if you go back and look at the play, on that interception downfield, he had Van Jefferson wide open running in the flat. It could have been a 30-yard, probably 20-yard pickup easy. But he was locked on throwing deep downfield to OBJ despite the fact the man was triple covered. Interception. And then Baltimore proceeds to go on a long drive, grind up some clock, and put up 3 points. And now it's 10-0 Baltimore. And so that pattern showing itself yet again. The offense not playing complementary football, turning the ball over, putting the defense repeatedly back out on the field. Ultimately, the defense being unable to stop a long drive. The time of possession discrepancy, again, rearing its ugly head. And so, all of the problems from the last several games, the last several weeks, more than a couple of months, are on display in Baltimore yet again. And I worry about the defense being overexposed so early on in this game. I worry about the chemistry issues that have flared up yet again. I worry about McGenius and his almost instinct to panic when they go down by a score or two and the need to chuck the ball all over the yard. I absolutely worry about the Poltergeist showing up yet again, that he may not be done. And he wasn't. And, McGenius has an abysmal record when trailing at halftime. And you got to figure, down 10-0 and approaching the 2-minute warning, he's going to be trailing. So the Rams have the ball, and they reach a crossroads, 4th down, 4th and 2, just shy of midfield. And we're coming out of the 2-minute warning. And I thought at the time, curiously, McGenius decides to punt the ball. Okay. And so now it's almost for sure the Rams are going to go into halftime scoreless. Scoreless. Unless something massive big happens. And it does. Huntley makes his first mistake of the game. Throws a pass that's picked by Fuller. There's a run back, and the Rams defense creates a turnover. And the Rams offense is then able to capitalize on that turnover and cash it in for a touchdown. Major momentum swing, because the Rams really seemed to be dead in the water. The Poltergeist was haunting them, and they just really seemed listless. But Harbaugh is aggressive. This team is trying to make the playoffs. And so instead of just sitting on the ball with under a minute to play and a backup quarterback, he drives, he goes for it, gets them in the field goal range, does Huntley, and kicks the field goal. And so at halftime, Baltimore leads 13-7. 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. 4 interceptions in the last 4 quarters. Matty from the D, the Pigskin Poltergeist, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the football from him. And yet, I put the blame on Sean McWonder for not restraining him. First possession of the second half. LA runs the ball. Good. And then 3 consecutive passes. But Matty from the D is checking it down. He's using Sony Michel, his running back. So he's not throwing for chunk plays. So if you use the pass as an extension of the run game, throw some screens, little bubble hitches out in the flat, that kind of thing, that's okay. He won't kill you there, the Poltergeist. Then there's another nice run, Sony Michel. All right, good, McGenius. Keep it balanced. Yes, first down. And then look, a run between the tackles. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, please. Let me have some more of that action. But then, after a nice drive out of halftime, and the Rams with a first down at the Baltimore 11-yard line, I see the empty backfield with Matt from Detroit in the shotgun. And every time I see this formation, I feel dread in my soul. I feel like something bad is about to happen. And it did. It did. Sure enough, just like bird brain clockwork. There's a strip sack, the ball's out, fumbled by the Poltergeist. The Rams come away with nothing. Baltimore takes over from their own 10-yard line. Why won't he learn? I feel like it's bird brain behavior, as I've said before. Regardless of how this game turns out, the Rams will be one and done in the playoffs with this kind of quarterback play. You won't be able to survive it. I guarantee you. You won't be able to survive it. You, Sean McWonder, had better get used to running the ball. Because if you don't, you're done. So, after another long Baltimore drive, eating up more clock, exposing and overexposing the defense yet again, the Ravens settle for 3 and now lead 16-7. The time of possession discrepancy is biting the Rams in the ass right now. And as the clock dwindles down on the third quarter, McVay gives Sony Michel a carry, 10 yards, first down run. Nice. Let's stay with that. Sony Michel is averaging 4.5 yards per carry at this point. But as we approach the fourth quarter, I know McVay is getting anxious, and I'm thinking he's going to abandon it. Stafford throws a little pass out in the flat to Cooper Crazy Legs Cup, who does his thing, did this sweet little move where he sort of lulled the defense into thinking he was going out of bounds, and then there's this spin move, and then he's off to the races. And on that catch and run, Cooper Kupp became the Rams franchise leader in receiving yards in a single season, surpassing the great Reverend Isaac Bruce. Now, the Rams have first and goal from the 8-yard line. Sony Michel takes a cut back to the 2. And then I'm thinking run again, McGenius on Sony Michel. And now it's 16-14 Baltimore. Next first down play. Their running back, Devontae Freeman, breaks a big one up the gut for 32 yards. And so the Ravens proceed to drive the ball down the field on the ground. They get to a third and goal with just over 5 minutes left to play in regulation. And AD 99 and Floyd combined for a major sack, which forced Baltimore to kick the field goal. And that field goal put them up 5. And that kept it a 1-score game. And so that was a crucial stand, sequence, and stop by the defense. And so now it's 19-14 Baltimore. Time is just about running out on the Rams in this game now. 4:30 left in regulation. Matt Stafford drops 2 darts for consecutive first downs. Now 3 minutes left to play. Gel up the gut to the 2-minute warning. And I'm thinking, now can the doctor hide from his alter ego? Can we bring this home? 2nd and 2 from the 9. Another run to Sony Michel, but he can only gain 1 yard. 3rd and 1 from the 8. And then they run, but laterally here. Like up the gut, McGenius, the gut. Oh, it's a tackle for loss. And now it's 4th and 5. And the game is right. And Stafford throws a dart to OBJ. And he sticks the catch, those hands. Yeah. First And on the very next play, 1st and goal from the 5. Stafford, sidearm, dart, OBJ, pylon, touchdown. Rams take the lead. 2019, and I am ecstatic. I'm beside myself. I'm overjoyed, having a ball, enjoying this comeback that the Rams are putting together in Baltimore. That was such a great call by McGenius. Cooper Kupp, Crazy Legs, was the distraction, the eye candy, as he went in motion, and OBJ with the snatch, the hands, the sticky fingers, touchdown in the pylon move, and then he started the floor show, his dancing routine that he practices. And then the Rams go for 2. And that play, I have to be honest with you, looked scattered. It looked discombobulated, and it failed. And so the score remained 2019 Rams. And with 23 seconds left in the game, the Rams playing that prevent D. Huntley completes short. They get the first down, but tick, tick, tick. Seconds burning off. They burn their last time out. 19 seconds left in the game. Guess who appears? Von Miller. What do you know? He gets the sack. And this is it. Desperation lateral. Rams win. Rams escape Baltimore with a win. But, this must be another cautionary tale. Another case study in evidence as to why the Rams must change their ways. And I'm talking to you, Mr. McWonder. The only way to have success, the only way to be successful and prosper in these upcoming playoffs is if you change your ways and go run first and let your pass game be an extension of your run game success. Let the run game be your bread and butter. You got lucky in many ways, Mr. McWonder. You're being reckless and obstinate by refusing to recognize what is quite obvious by now. Your quarterback is haunted. You have to restrain him in the straitjacket. That's the only way you'll win in the playoffs, sir. Let's look at the final numbers now. Matthew Stafford, Matty from the D, the PP, the Pigskin Poltergeist, went 26 for 35 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a fumble lost. But I have to point out that Matthew Stafford has an alter ego. He's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hide the ball from him. As awful as Matty from the D was in the first half, and he was awful now, he had 2 interceptions, including a pick 6. In the second half, this same fellow went 14 for 14. Not one pass hit the ground. 14 for 14 in the second half. And he led the game-winning drive. And he threw darts and dimes in that fourth quarter. He looked like a quality quarterback in that fourth quarter. So there's this dichotomy from this guy who appeared in the first quarter, who you see in the first half, who spots the opposing team 7, 10, 14 points in the first half. Matty from the D leads NFL quarterbacks in fourth quarter QBR. Now, this is on a scale of 100. Matt Stafford has an 84.8 QBR in the fourth quarter, and that's tops in the NFL. 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jekyll and hide the ball from him. But in that first half, just awful. 7 interceptions in the last 4 games. 4 pick sixes this season. And McVay is covering for Matty from the D. But that's because he's enabling him. And so ultimately, McWonder is culpable. Sony Michel had 19 carries for 74 yards. He averaged in the end 3.9 yards per carry. In the end, he averaged 3.9 yards per carry, and he had a touchdown. And this is what I would like to see. I'd like to see 30 carries coming up here against San Francisco, minimum 30 carries. And I'd like to see Stafford restrained to 25 passes attempted total. That's going to be your formula for winning McWonder. You can thank me later. Okay? At a minimum of 30 carries for Sony Michel, and I understand Cam Akers will be active and will play on Sunday against the Niners. 30 carries minimum for the running backs, and then you got to have a straitjacket on your haunted quarterback. Keep him to 25 pass attempts. Now, I know I'm asking for a lot, but that's a recipe to win. And you've lost 5 consecutive games to San Francisco. Shanahan owns McVay. He sons him. He's got the boy wonder in his pocket. Okay? He's like, here, boy genius, put you in here and come along with me now. So you've got to change it up. Shanahan ran the ball 44 times against you in San Francisco. 44! And whooped you good. And now, you need to return the favor. Quit chucking the ball around empty backfield. Every time I see Matt Stafford empty backfield in that shotgun, I feel a little bit of sickness coming. I feel dread approach. I feel angst. You got to run the ball down Shanahan's throat. Give him some of his own medicine, McWonder. That's how you win. OBJ had a great game. 5 receptions, 39 yards, and the game-winning touchdown, and that 4th and 5 game-saving catch, and the floor show, whatever the hell he's doing. Cooper Crazy Legs Cup, 6 receptions, 95 yards, a touchdown. He averaged 15.8 yards per reception. And so, as I mentioned, next up, San Francisco. I suspect Trey Lance will play. And I suspect that Shanahan is feeling pretty confident going into this game. And McVay should be feeling some anxiety because you've been getting sunned. You've been getting owned by Kyle Shanahan. Now, everybody else in the division will whoop Shanahan. The Cardinals will whoop him. The Seahawks will whoop him. But, he fattens up on McWonder. So you got to change the script on him, McWonder. Now, there are a lot of scenarios things could play out in a number of different ways, but essentially, the Rams are either going to be the 2 seed or the 5, depending on whether or not they defeat their rivals, the hated Niners. If they defeat San Francisco, they will win the division and be the 2 seed. And they may, as their reward, get to face them again in the wild card round. Or they may actually be able to eliminate them. Wouldn't that be a nice way of paying Kyle Shanahan back for all the misfortune he's handed out to you over the last few years? Either way, there's no real way to say how this plays out for the best. And there's no way to avoid, because, you go in there thinking, oh, we want to just tank this game and avoid them, and you still end up with them. So I think the best thing to do is get the monkey off your back and go in there and whoop their ass. But I can't pick McVay to win this game because I see what his tendencies are. He doesn't want to learn. He wants to keep doing the same exact thing that isn't working for him against the Niners. That's bird brain behavior. The BBB. Bird brain behavior. So I'm hoping that he will finally change it up, get physical, and give Shanahan some of what he's been giving McWonder. We will be covering the goings-on at the Haunted Palace in Inglewood. So far, so fly. Will Sean, the boy wonder McGenius, finally pull himself together, swear off the bird brain behavior, and run the ball? Will Sony Michel and Cam Akers get a minimum of 30 carries against the hated Niners? Or will Shanahan continue to son McGenius? Will the Rams end up winning the division, eliminating the hated Niners? Or will they drop all the way to the 5 as a wild card? And who will they play there? These and many other questions remain to be asked and answered on the next episode of Scotty Says. But in the meanwhile, throw me one of these. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, my folks, one love.